What is going on, guys? I know this is a little bit late, but I just said I would show off my Galaxy Ace Tachyon deck profile, and it is a little spicy, a little bit different because it's more of a budget build because I do not have access to 7 Tachyon, so I'm going to show you guys what I use. Another budget build is like with Horus, but again, that's not really budget because Imseti is crazy money, so this is going to be a budget version of that version of the deck, I suppose. So, without further ado, we have the one of the new cards, Galaxy Ace Tachyon Primal. This card is very interesting. When it's summoned, you get to search out a Tachyon card, so that's how we would search out 7 Tachyon. But other than that, you're searching out your Transmigration, which we will get into now in a sec. And the other one, the other effect it has is when it's in your hand and there's an Xyz monster, you can special summon it, but you can special summon to either side of the field, so that actually activates our Tachyon effect, which again we will go over. Yeah, other than that, you can special summon it with the 2 Cloud Dragon. So Cloud Dragon is a popular. Basically, if it's searched in any way other than drawing it, you can special summon it, and then you can use its effect to tribute it and special summon out this guy from the deck or grave. So you can actually, even if you use your Tachyon in grave or this, you can special summon it back from the grave. So a lot of people I see running 2 and 3. And you can do that when you have 7 Tachyon, but if you don't have 7 Tachyon, these can be kind of dead. So yeah, that's the reason there behind that. Anyway, the next is the whole reason to play the deck. Again, a lot of people run this at 3 because you have 7 Tachyon, so you want to see one in your opening hand, but this is the only card we're going to be searching. So the fact that you can use your combo and search the 2 very easily is why we're only running the 2. So we can so yeah, it's a really good card. Basically what it does is it negates everything in the chain. So if your opponent tries to do something with SP, let's say, and something else, you can chain block it, you know. If they try to chain block you, they can't do it because it negates everything your opponent activates in a chain. So other than that, it's just, you know, it's a negate. The next card, which I think is super cheap right now, but is going to be amazing in the future, I guarantee it, is Schwarzschild Infinity Dragon. So this card, it does lock into dragons and it does lock into Xyz, but it can special summon itself like a Saber Dragon effect. If your opponent has a monster with 2000 attack, you can special summon it, but you can have monsters as well, or you can just special summon it if you have control no monsters. So what it does is basically it special summons the level 8 from deck, and the one you're going into is Galactic Spiral. Galactic Spiral has the effect. You don't want to draw this card, but basically if there's 2 dragons, light or dark dragon, or 2 light or dark dragon monsters on the field, you can special this card from hand or grave, which is pretty cool. And then the other target I run for it is Nebula. So Nebula has the effect that if it's in hand, you can target another. Let's say you have these 2 in hand, you can target this one and special them both from your hand, and then the 2 effects are negated, but you have another rank 8, so it's pretty cool. It also has a graveyard effect, which is why you would use it with this, and it can basically get your Poplar off, but your Cloud Dragon. So basically you banish this, you can add a level 4 back to your hand, so you can add the Cloud Dragon and special summon Tachyon Primal that way. The other card we have is 2 Dark End Evaporation Dragon. This is a pop, if nothing else. It's also a fusion card. It can be used as its own polymerization with whatever fusion monsters you want to run. If you don't like end up drawing the Schwarzschild Infinity Dragon, you're not locked into anything, so you can go into this and just fusion summon and end on a light and darkness dragon, which I'll show you. Light and darkness dragon Lord, which I'll show you that as well. Other than that, it's just a level 8 extender. And then we have 3 Seifert. Seifert's just another one of Mizar's cards. It's very, very good. It can basically get rid of level 4s or 8s dragons in your hand up to the number. So basically you can target itself and search out the Cloud Dragon, and because the Cloud Dragon will search, you can special summon it and do that way. Or if you have another level 8 that's not useful and you wanted to go into, let's say, search for an Evaporation Dragon, Evaporation can special summon itself, then send a fusion monster that we will go into in a bit, Chaos. This one, Chaos. And Chaos then targets Safer and makes Safer to level 8. And then Seyfried also has the effect engrave to banish itself and add a level 8 from graveyard to hand, so that's pretty cool too. These are all Mizar's cards, not Dark End of Apparition Dragon. That is Chaz Princeton's card, but yeah. Very small Bestial package. I suppose this is the only part that's not budget. But running the one Lebellion and the one Magnamo. We are running seals as well, which a lot of people would say that's crazy, but there are times where you're going to end on 2 dragons and you can't end on you'd haven't used Schwarzschild, so it's completely normal to keep your deck kind of just in cases, you know. Okay, this is the budget package we're running, which is Punk, so Foxy Tune, Deer Note, 2 Xiamin. So for those of you who don't know, I'm sure everyone knows, but Xiamin is your E-Tele target, which I will show you that. Yeah, is your E-Tele target. So what you do is you'd special summon this or normal summon it, pay 600 life points to add Foxy Tune. Foxy Tune would discard a card and itself to search for Deer Note or special summon Deer Note from deck. Deer Note from deck then would have Xiamin and Deer Note, and you would synchro for a level 8. And there's going to be a few new Punk cards in the future which might help this combo off a little bit better, but at the moment I'm just using a generic level 8 synchro. And then when this is sent from field to grave for that synchro summon, you get special summon Foxy Tune from grave, and then you have 2 level 8s and you go into your rank 8 that way. So it's a big engine just for 1 rank 8, and the Horus is a little bit better, but again you have to run, like, if you do want to go into 2 rank 8s, you have to run 3 bricks as well, whereas you're not running bricks. These are literally like, this is that combo, this is that combo, this is that combo, this is that combo, this is that combo. Yeah, you know, and this is like still an extender for something else. So you are running 2 bricks, but compared to the Horus deck, which is 3 bricks, because you're running like 3 Mseti, which is your searcher, which is this, and then you're running the one let's say Sarcophagus, which isn't a brick, but then you're running like Happy. So if you're running Happy, you're only getting 1 rank 8 as well, which is fine, and then you're running the other 2 to make sure you can have 2 rank 8s. But I don't know, but this is budget as well, so I mean there's a argument to be made there for doing that. Running a kind of heavy hand trap package. So we have the 1 Nib, Triash, 3 Droll, because it's very good against, you're just trying to, the main thing with this deck is because it's like a glass cannon, you're just trying to stop your opponent as best you can. 3 Imperm. Now you can run, if I had Fulos, I'd run Fulos right now, but instead I'm running a different sort of package. So there are your hand traps. I know it's not a huge lineup of hand traps. I did try it with 3 Effect Failure and it just seemed very slow, or your hand might open up before hand traps, but you don't have full combo then, or any way to get into your Xyz, which is kind of bad. But at the moment I'm running Board Breakers, so I have the 1 Triple Tactics Trust and Tactic Talent. So like if your opponent activates something on the Schwarzschild, you can at least search for impermanence, or you can search for tactics, and if you get tactics, you can, like, depending on what your opponent has, so if there has a card on your opponent's field that's can't be get over, at least you can take that and try to win that way. Or you can, you know, draw 2 cards and hope you draw the package that you need, you know. But punish your opponent for activating hand traps, which is really every deck runs them. So and then I'm running, because again this is a glass cannon, running the 2 cross out. That's why even I'd run 1 Fulos, maybe run 1 Effect Veiler in the difference. You can add that, add a couple more cards just to help with consistency maybe, but I don't know. But cross out seems to be good. A lot of the OCG, you can see, I know they have a lot more hand traps, so they need to run it, but a lot of the OCG runs cross out. They run like 2 Call by the Grave and 1 cross out, so it's always a 3 of, so you kind of add 1 to end up with 1 in your hand. If you go Schwarzschild in this, like, chances are you're going to get your combo off, which gets you a negate then, so then you can stop your opponent from doing more. But yeah, so that is it for the deck. 40 card deck. The Punk engine is a lot, but if you don't have 7 Tachyon and you don't have the horror stuff, it's a very, very good option. Next, one of my favorite cards. When I see it, I automatically fell in love with it, because I love Metal Gear Solid. and it just reminded me of Metal Gear Ray when it first came out, which is such a pretty card. But yeah, Konami, two companies. So basically what this one does is you can detach a material and it negates all face-up cards up on the field, maybe monsters. If your opponent activates an effect after this effect was activated, you gain 1,000 and can attack twice. So basically what you do is you can special summon your primal to your opponent's turn. It has the effect that if an Xyz monster even tries to declare attack, its cost is to equip it to this monster. So that's your opponent activating a card, and then you can attack with 4,000 attacking twice. That's 8,000. So if you've already like got rid of your opponent's whole field, that's what you go into. We're going for the other new card, Divine Golden Shadow Dragon Dragluxion. This one searches one of your transmigrations, or it can search a Cloud Dragon to go into your plays. It's another level 8 basically. If you have, your plays up. It also has the effect it can get rid of its 2 materials to have Tachyon go on top of it, and that's the whole way the deck works. So basically what you do is when you search Tachyon Transmigration, go on top of this, you automatically have your live Omni Negate. The next one is Draglubion. Draglubion works well with 2 cards. I'm going to show those 2 cards now. Basically what you do is discard a card and special summon a number Xyz dragon, and that's what it does. So the first target is Numeron Dragon. A Numeron Dragon basically gains attack times 1,000 on the ranks that are on the field. So if you have Draglubion and Tachyon and itself, that's game. Pretty much attacking anything. It's a very high attack. 10,000 something. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'm not doing the maths right now because my maths is bad. But anyway, yeah, that and Hope Harbinger. Hope Harbinger is another negate. So if you have most of the time the end board, which doesn't seem great, is Tachyon, Draglubion, and Hope Harbinger. So normally you'd have 2 transmigrations in hand. You'd have Draglubion in defense mode, and you have Hope Harbinger, which is a spell and trap negate, which is pretty cool. As well as most of the time, most of your combos need to be in the grave. So the reason you'd use Draglubion is the only thing that would be underneath this is another number monster, which means it doesn't have all the materials that would normally be stuck like Galaxy Spiral Dragon or a Nebula, so to be using in the grave. And this would have that, but you can discard them. It makes sense, because this one can't get rid of its materials. It's just a negate until your opponent destroys it. But yeah, some board breakery stuff. So Galaxy Cypher Dragon, even though you can't attack your opponent directly other than with this card, you get to steal one of your opponent's monsters. If it's an Xyz, you can Xyz on top with another Photon Galaxy monster, which I'll show in a sec. But it's a cool just rank 8, depending on what your opponent has or needs. Galaxy Prime Photon Dragon is kind of like Numeron in the case that it gains 200 or 300 attack. I can't see it right now. Text is too small. 200, sorry. So you gain 200 times the rank. So normally you can get up to very, very high attacks, but it's if you don't have Galaxy Size Photon Dragon, which we don't run, the damage is halved. But really what you're using is this to overlay on top of this. This is just a 4,000 attack beat stick that negates everything on your opponent's. It's unaffected by monster effects, and it's just it can gain high attack as well. We have the one Cypher Blade. Cypher Blade goes on top of Cypher Dragon and just makes you pop a card. Same with Galaxy's Full Armor. So depending on what your opponent has, you're able to pop 2 cards and clear the board that way for your double attack, if that was the case. That's your Xyz. I just got rid of Cypher X Dragon, which is it is what it is. Normally what you do is you take your opponent's monster and overlay on top for Cypher X if it was a level 8 or higher or something like that. So I got rid of that. I also had Neo Galaxy Tachyon Dragon, which was just for show because it's another ultimate rare. But yeah, this just seems to be the best to go into at the moment. We have the one Chaos Star Source Dragon. Reason being is with our the thing I showed you earlier, which was Seyfert. It makes, when it's banished, you make Seyfert level 8 with the Evaporation Dragon, and it is just a waste special of an Evaporation Dragon. So this is just used as an extender combo piece, which is fine. Then there's the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. So sometimes if you have Dark End Evaporation Dragon and Starly Seyfert and do all that, but your opponent's going to do something that might not let you get into your, like, let's say you know they have 2 or 3 hand traps and you're just going to go into that. What you can do is to try to stop them. Is, let's say you have Seyfert Evaporation Dragon on the field from someone in Chaos, and they know you're going to go into Drag Luxion, which as soon as they go into Drag Luxion and uses like Impermanence, or they use Effect Veiler, you're gone. Like, you can't do anything more. So the reason I use Dragon Lord is because then at least you have 3 negates. You're ending on like 3 negates with your opponent, and then that might be enough to stop them the next turn, hopefully having a Schwarzschild. The one Cypher Lord Omega, the reason being is with the Punk cards, you're using level 8 and you're getting rid of it for an XC, but it also has the effect Engrave where you can bounce it back and recoup some of your stuff you used in the grave. The one Seals, again, a lot of people just cut this because with Schwarzschild you can't summon it. But if you don't open with Schwarzschild, because we're not running Tachyon, 7 Tachyon, so it's not as consistently getting to Schwarzschild, you can end on Seals, and sometimes Seals is enough. Like, you think about Tempai used to end on Seals and it was like enough to keep them going. I know Tempai is a different deck, but yeah. And then the last one is Galaxy Satellite Dragon. So another effect that I forgot to tell you is about with Dragluxion is when you use its effect to overlay on top for Tachyon, Tachyon can put this as a material underneath it, and then you get rid of this as negating the effects, and you can activate Galaxy Satellite Dragon to make this card 10,700 attack. But the effect the damage is halved again. But if you have like 10,700 and it still gets its effect off of Primal to attack twice, it becomes 11,700 and it can attack twice. You know, so it's overkill. But yeah, so that is it for the deck profile. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Cardmarket page for all my EU viewers. And thank you very much. Goodbye.